well, it goes all the way back to birth that I was born with a birth defect. My Achilles tendons don't grow correctly. So basically, I couldn't ever put my heel to the ground for the first 12 years.
Welcome back to Lose to Win, the podcast with myself, Jack. We've got Josh, and we have somebody that's fast become one of my favourite people down at Man v Fat, Super Tomo. How are you boys doing?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
very
good. Thanks. Yourself?
Yes, mate. I'm surviving. I think that's probably the easiest way to put it at the moment. And like my brothers seem to be okay, but I think I might have caught the Benidorm lurgy. I'm full of cold and feel utter shite, but I shouldn't whinge too much because it was a self-inflicted is probably the better term. Kind of 10-day hangover, it feels like. But yeah,
Still
I'm
doing
really
well, mate, aren't you?
yeah, I'll be all right. I played football Tuesday night, and it was I actually feel better. What I often find if I've got a cold, if I play football for that kind of hour, I feel okay for that hour. Then about 20 minutes after, and by the time I'm home, I feel utter dog shit again. So yeah, it's a light relief from it, but it's all good. How about you, Josh? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, another good week, consistent, staying along there, busy, getting very busy now. Which usually, at least the last couple of seasons, hasn't been a good indicator for my my continued Man v Fat journey, at least on the weight loss side. But I'm sticking to it. I'm doing well.
So. I see what you mean. So busy away from the Man v Fat stuff, work and life balance and whatever else.
I'm busy with that on some level, but I just because I'm playing more football again. But I'm busy mainly from work and outside and things we've got on. So every weekend now there's something that I've got both Saturday and Sunday that's not, until I come back in mid-June. So
building up to that big holiday, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet, mate. I bet. And obviously we've got our own awards, then we've got the actual Man v Fat awards. Got national tournaments to think about and get involved with. So yeah, there's lots going on, isn't there? When's the Southampton tournament?
27th, mate. A week on Monday.
Monday the 27th. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Bank holiday Monday.
I still plan to hopefully attend. I know that some plans were floated around with Lisa's side of the family today, so I'm hoping to come along. I definitely can't play and won't play, but I might come along and support and do what I can to help. But yeah, looking forward to it, mate. And Tomo, how are you, mate? Thank you for joining us as well.
That's fine. I'm doing all right. I've had a rough 24 hours, but I'm here, ready for football, so that's good.
Yes. Yeah. And when he says ready for football, people listening, he is at Little Down where we play football on a Thursday night, and he's been there approximately 2 hours before he's meant to be. So fair play, mate. We appreciate you getting there early. So whereabouts do you live again? It's I'm going to say Shaftesbury, isn't it? I was going to say Salisbury, Shaftesbury way, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. About an hour out of Bournemouth.
Yeah, so whilst you're in Bournemouth, you might as well stay there. There's no point going home and coming back again, is there?
No, exactly that.
No, fair point.
That's commitment as well, though.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And that gives you an idea. So again, for people that don't play with us, that might not be part of Man v Fat Bournemouth. So where we play football on Thursday night is about a 10-minute drive to where we play football on a Friday night for actual Man v Fat club. So Tomo and his brother make that trip every Friday to Man v Fat to get involved. So there's I think they are our furthest travellers by some way, but certainly appreciated, especially for the Super Purples, the effort that you two put in and what it means to make that journey, especially on a 10 p.m. kickoff, not getting home till, I reckon you walk in the door till probably 11:30, do you?
No, I mean, yeah, especially if you leave it, don't leave quickly. We're lucky to be in before midnight.
That's mental. Yeah, well, that's incredible effort and fair play, mate. We do appreciate it. You're a listener of the pod, so you know the crack. What we'll do is we'll jump into a roundup now that Josh will do, and then we'll do a bit of deep dive into Tomo's world. We'll learn about you, about your football team, about your past, and about your present, how things are going with Man v Fat and everything else in between. So if you're ready, Josh, we dive into the roundup?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last week had it all, really. close fought pitch encounters and shock results, strong individual scales displays, and a solid collective loss. So, but I really should say, best of all, a stunning individual milestone this week. So we've now lost 238.5 kilos this season. That's 17.8 this last week. 5 Kylies, that is, between us. So, but there's still 2 weeks to go anyway. To borrow a phrase from one of Miss Minogue's 80s pop rivals, the only way is up. So there we go. The results from last week then. So we had yellows and whites play out, I think it's the 3rd consecutive draw of 6 all.
That's crazy.
We have 3 draws in as many weeks we've had. Then the oranges won 16-8 against your purples. The blues lost 17-12 against the greens. And the reds won 11-6 against us blacks. Your blues and your purples have made kind of precious few missteps on the pitch this season. But last week we saw both defeated, which was a bit, I have to admit, a bit shocking. I'm not going to lie. Your purples were missing several key players, which saw your narrow pitch loss to oranges made worse by a ringer penalty, which is unfortunate. Blues missed the chance to capitalise, though, by going down to the greens, who added to the pitch win with the scales performance of the day. All 9 players lost weight, with 5 completing hat-tricks. Blues were unlucky, kind of on that sense, to be the team facing that onslaught, as their stats, 7 out of 9 losing weight and a collective loss of 4.4 kilos, would have overcome most opponents last week.
So, very impressive. I was sat watching the results coming through, refreshing it in bed at dawn like a sado, and I was very shocked by the pitch result. No disrespect to the greens, but I thought the pitch was probably where blues would have got their win, and the other way around. I'd expect greens to do the business as they always do on the weight. So it was I was quite shocked to see it go both greens' way, but fair play, they are pushing us absolutely all the way with only a couple of weeks left. It's proper nail biting time now, I think, and we're certainly feeling the pressure in the purple camp, but we thrive under that and hope to make the best of it.
Yeah. Well, your depleted purples were the other high performing side in terms of weight, losing 4.9 kilos despite only having 6 players weigh in. It's very impressive.
Yeah, it's a great effort.
That leaves you with the advantage still in the main league, despite your loss. Greens have now moved level on points, but remain 18 behind on goal difference. So a tough one with 2 weeks to go. It's the other way round in the Scales League, with Greens 2 points and 11 goals ahead, you guys, but hampered by half of their players now unable to earn more hat-tricks this season. As they had them all last week. With your purples, by the way, League Contented stumbling, that is is as you were on the blues, with blues, 2 points and 2 goals ahead on the pitch league,
That's tight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. Three different teams now lead 3 different leagues, which I have to admit I wouldn't have thought would be happening, 4 or 5 weeks ago.
If I'm completely honest, we knew for a long time, and we didn't make a great deal about the 4 of us being out, as in Kev being on holiday, and then the 3 of us being on Jordan Stag do. To compound the misery and pain, unfortunately, Ed has hurt himself and injured himself as well. So it's something we relatively predicted and knew that we needed points on the board leading up to this point. Obviously, there was a couple of results leading to it that weren't ideal either. So it has our small margin of breathing room has certainly been snatched from underneath our feet. So it certainly puts us on high alert and makes sure that we do what we need to do, but there's absolutely no guarantees in this game for sure. Unless you're Man City, there's absolutely no guarantees.
You don't so it's all there, Jack, really. We'll get into that maybe at some point. Anyway, as with 2 weeks to go, none of those titles are decided anyway, so as it stands, the 3 tables, as I said, have 3 different leaders, so we will we'll see.
that's what you want to see as well, isn't it? I guess from Steve and your perspective, you want it to be as competitive as possible all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've got 3 teams and anyone within touching distance of getting there, there's incentive.
Yeah.
You don't have teams or as many players kind of feeling like they don't have much to play for, because they do. So it's and they put that effort in. So
yeah,
I'm not saying people who don't have anything to play for don't. I'm just saying it's more likely that you would probably push yourself a little harder if you had something to play for, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
Only one milestone last week, by the way, but it's one that deserves pride of place all on its own. So Ollie Wentworth lost 1.3 kilos last week, becoming the latest member of the highly select 30% club. He's lost 43.5 kilos since joining Man v Fat, and 9.3 this season alone, which is, I mean, he's a brilliant example of the difference Man v Fat can make when you commit to it. So well done, Ollie, mate. We're all proud of you, and honoured to know you as well. And I know how hard he's been working every single week leading up to this. So just I could feel the frustration coming from him. Didn't feel like he was getting there, and now he's just smashed through it. So
amazing,
absolutely amazing. I can't speak highly enough of that, mate, Ollie. So well done. Also means he gets potential one of the biggest loser Man v Fat games, wasn't it? So we should probably highlight that. Our own Mike Welch went to I can't remember what the game is called. It's just the biggest loser game, isn't it, really? So
it is the biggest loser game,
yeah, over 30% can make it and play, and we're hugely proud of Mike and his success there, and we can hugely proud of Ollie and hopefully many others to add to that next year when it comes around.
That'd be sick to go and watch, to be fair, and
yeah,
hopefully next year a couple of us might be pushing towards that too, mate. That's the plan, isn't it?
I hope so. Yeah. There were 12 hat-trick heroes, by the way, this last week. We've continued in the double digits of hat-tricks for several weeks now. Congratulations to them, and commiserations for the fact that they won't have time to earn another hat-trick before the end of the season. Ollie's milestone, by the way, and hat-trick combo have propelled him to the top scorer race. He's one of 4 players tied on 16 points. The others being Ravnath, Dave Durnley, and Ryan Puttick. Chris Cowan, Luke Hayter, and Tom Marks lead the chasing pack on 14.5 points. And then Alex Jones remains the front runner for Amazing Loser on 12.52% of his body weight loss this season, with Chris Cowan on 11.28 and Luke Hayter on 11.09. So they're pretty close, within touching distance there as well.
Yeah.
For the second successive week, no one went out of last man standing. All 13 survived, although 2 players used their grace week to do so. We'll find out next week. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll find out next week whether those stag-related excesses will offer any further hindrance to their chances. So
yeah, we shall see.
Yeah. 4 players, Ollie Wentworth, Mark Simpson, Ravnath, and Jet Gander, completed 12 perfect weeks of losses and earned bonus goals for their respective teams. Which is really phenomenal, really thinking about it.
Yeah.
New boy Sam Bond and not so new Sam Troughton lead the team of the week, each dropping a whopping 2.5 kilos. It's great to see another newcomer, by the way. Another newcomer, Matt Waterman, also featured with an impressive 1.9 kilo loss in his first full week with us as well.
Well done.
That's a really good one. So the list is as follows. We had Sam Bond and Sam Troughton tied at the top with 2.5. Matt Waterman 1.9. Then we had Luke Cage with 1.9. Tim Green with, yeah, mate. Seriously, I was thrilled, mate.
Thrilled. Keeps plucking away, doesn't he?
Yeah. Keep going, mate. You're doing brilliantly. And then Tim Greenwood, 1.8. Rob Hodge with 1.7. Johnny Stewart with 1.5, and that's the rounded out team of the week on that one. Just 2 weeks to go to the end of the season and the current rotation of teams. So it's easy to lose focus. We know that, especially if you're not in contention for team honours. 3 teams this last week made small collective gains despite the presence of strong individual losers. So there's an element of, say, improvement we can make. And even if you don't think it will make a difference to your team, you can still contribute to the club achievement overall. More importantly, you can take steps towards your own long-term health and weight targets. So 2 more decent weeks could bring us the elusive 6 Kylie season. By each becoming slightly smaller, you can be part of the club doing something huge, and that's how we need to finish in style. So
amazing.
That's my roundup for the week, mate.
Love it. Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to getting back. We certainly miss it, definitely. And it's some super impressive. We've got obviously Sam Bond in there is a new purple, so he certainly contributed to that whopping effort from the purple. So that's amazing. So it's really really good. And I think what did you say the total overall was that we've lost? 240 odd.
Almost 240, 238 and a half.
Do you think the 300 is possible over the next 2 weeks? It's a tall push, isn't it?
I mean that is a tall order.
The closer we can get to it, the better, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that would mean more than doubling our most recent weekly totals for the last 2 weeks combined. So it's possible, but I would say it's a little out of reach. 250 is definitely within range. Obviously, that's only 11 and a half away. So that's 1 week, basically. Usually more than 1 week. So 275 potentially.
Yeah, I think that's probably more realistic, isn't it? Yeah.
More realistic target. Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's try and strive for that. Yes.
Excellent.
Really good season, though. Really good season so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's jump into Tomo. So Tom, let's start off with the customary way. Who's your team? I might get some boos and hisses after you say it.
I feel like in Man v Bournemouth it's not the strongest team to pick for, but I am a Southampton supporter.
Oh, you've been hiding that well. I have to admit, I didn't know.
There we go.
I think of you completely different now. I'm kidding. It's okay.
There's a few secret scummers, mate. Don't worry. Awesome. Okay. And what's your story behind supporting the Saints then, mate?
So my whole family's from Southampton. My father was born there. All my siblings were born Southampton. So growing up, I was just naturally going to the games with my father and my brothers, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of your favourite moment or what made you fall in love with them, obviously almost forced upon you, but is there a particular favourite moment that made you realise Saints are your club?
One of them is one of my first memories was my first away day, and I'm very glad Ben's not here because it was up at QPR, where we won 3-0 with Bradley Wright Phillips sealing the deal in the second half. Back in the day. But that was the first away day and like my real first different stadium feeling, which was really great.
Yeah,
amazing.
There is something special about away days, isn't there?
Yeah, I was about to say that there's something pretty, apart from the travel bit, depending on how far you go, and it always feels worth it just for that extra not weird feeling, but it's just it's a different kind of atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you get you get the condensed fans that are what's the term? A bit more vocal, aren't they? The away fans, as always, that you kind of get the not diehards. So it's not necessarily fair because there's people that can't travel away because of work commitments or whatever. But you generally get the fans that are super committed and also don't mind having a beer on a away day and singing their hearts out for the team, which is which always adds for a good atmosphere. I thinking about the atmosphere I've got in the background, the Leeds Norwich game, and it looks like Ellen Road is absolutely pumping, as you wouldn't expect anything less. But it reminds me that not having an atmosphere I thought about was the whole Celtic Rangers situation, which I still think is absolutely awful that they're just being tit for tat, not letting away fans in each game. So when it's at Celtic, they don't let the Rangers in, and the other way around too. I think that's changing soon, but it's based on how much trouble there's been. But it just, whenever you watch that game on TV, only one set of fans singing doesn't feel right, does it? It's not the same.
Yeah, I think the thing about away days is that maybe subconsciously or very consciously, depending on where you are, away fans push that. They try to make more noise because they know they're outnumbered. You know you're outnumbered. You know, in order you try to fill the stadium as much as you can for the limited capacity you have. Whereas at home games, because you know you're in the majority, I'm not sure there's quite the same impetus, or I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
Push. Yeah, does that make any sense? I'm not saying you support it any less. It's just maybe it's a bit more. There's a bit more effort into it, maybe in a way, because you know you
Definitely
need to fill the space as such.
I think as well when you're in an away end, you kind of you're all kind of hemmed in a tight little spot, and you're all there for cheering. You're not Johnny come latelys or just got a free ticket or anything like that might end up happening in a home end. So yeah, it's definitely something special about away games. I love them, but the travel, like you're right, is if there's anything too far, is a bit of a pain and it's a killer in it. But get the result. I'm sure a lot of the Bournemouth fans that have been to that Newcastle away up in the heavens, and when you put a result out the bag there, it's always worth that trip home. It feels a lot easier getting home from that. Indeed. So yeah, so Tomo, great. We went off a little tangent a little bit, but it's a great point about away games, and I'm sure other people that regularly attend games feel the same. So let's jump into your story so far with Man v Fat. So how long have you been with us, and how's it going?
I think about 11 months. I must have joined last summer, roughly.
Okay.
Since then, I've dropped. I think it's just shy of 17 kilos.
Amazing.
Which is I'm pushing. I think about 12% from my starting weight, and then I did a season before joining the Purples, so just before the big remix was kind of my first full season, and then obviously we added in the 2 extra teams, and this would be technically my third full season currently.
Nice, amazing. And obviously you brought Ian and your brother along. Sadly, Ian's had to step away a little bit from it because of an injury, but I know that Ed's done well so far as well, isn't he?
Yes, he has. I mean, we're, as brothers always are, we're competitive, so always egg each other on to do better than the other one, so that always helps.
Absolutely, we're a team of brothers, aren't we? A band of brothers.
I was going to say you're in a team.
It's a weird dynamic without it even being kind of put that way. Just how strange it is to have 5 brothers effectively in one team has its pros and cons. So far, it's been positive, I think. So yeah, amazing.
For a title, so it must have been.
Fingers crossed, mate. Yeah, we don't want to speak too soon, but yeah, it certainly has helped. There's what we were saying in the chat, 100% chemistry or whatever it is on FIFA. I don't play FIFA anymore, but 100% chemistry on your ultimate team. So that certainly helps. Awesome. Okay, so one thing that I know Josh wasn't aware about, and you let me know about, is your history in terms of your health. So do you want to share what's happened with you in your time and your health, and how important football is to you, and how lucky you are to be able to be playing football?
Yes, so it's a bit of a long story. I'll keep it as short as
we've got the time, mate. Don't worry. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
But basically, it goes all the way back to birth. That I was born with a birth defect. My Achilles tendons don't grow correctly. So basically, I couldn't ever put my heel to the ground for the first, 12 years of my life, and every time I did, it was severe pain. Because I was stretching basically a muscle that wasn't supposed to put the heel down. So basically, I obviously was seeing doctors, medical, every single test under the sun to find a solution. And then I think I was about 12, I had my first operation, which, graphic warning, because this is all the surgeries are a bit graphic if people aren't too into this thing. Basically, the first one was the easiest way to put it is like your Achilles is a bit like an elastic band. So they basically inserted knives into it to extend it to help it grow, which meant I had both legs in casts for about 2 months. So I was walking on double casts with a wheelchair for 2 months.
Wow.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I just the way you said double casts.
It was. it was a serious image. I'm
No,
not
yeah,
going to
no,
deny
right, yeah.
that. And then after that, unfortunately, I had it almost too young, but not because it stopped the pain. It worked, but also I continued to grow after that. So then almost they extended it to my 12-year-old self, but then I continued to grow, and then it didn't continue to stretch again with me. So then I've been having physio, basically monthly my whole life. Then when I was, I want to say about 20, they went for the big one, which was ankle reconstruction surgery. So they basically took my whole ankle apart, cut the bone, reshaped it, kind of moved all the muscles around, to try to enable me to be able to walk better, basically to be able to walk full stop, to be honest. And then after that, I kind of did a year of rehab, and then COVID hit. And COVID hit badly for me because my rehab, I couldn't go in to see my physio. I then was static at home. I think I put on about 60 kilos in lockdowns because I was someone who couldn't walk anyway, plus the injury, plus the daily pain. It wasn't a great time, which I think a lot of people can resonate that COVID kind of put a lot of weight on for people because you couldn't get outside and do stuff.
Yeah.
And then kind of continued after that, continued physio. Like I said, I've been seeing doctors. I've basically, I get drug tested more than footballers at this point. I have about a monthly test for bloods, different tests and things. And then about a year ago, I decided to just up it where I could. So I started to go to the gym again. I think I dropped about 6 kilos. And then I joined Man v Fat with my roommate at the time, Kevin, which is obviously another Man v Fat Bournemouth member.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started to. So now I'm seeing a weekly physio, a weekly chiro, a weekly sports masseuse, to help kind of get to the point that I have minimal pain. I'm not expecting to ever be able to have a day without pain, but I'd like to be at a point where it's not too bad. And then with football's been the biggest driver to lose the weight because something that older people will know because they've had to go through this is that your brain is telling you one thing, but your body is doing something else. And so all through this, I've wanted to be able to do something. Like I know I've got a decent football brain, but my mechanical body is failing me. And so it's always been hard to kind of push through that. But I know as I can push through it, it gets a little bit easier. Every week I can get a little bit more. I have a lot of issues now where I'm almost too static because my body's been so used to not being able to be on the toes moving around the pitch. I'm being caught out where I'm actually, I could have been there, but I wasn't because I wasn't expecting to have that mobility, which has been a big thing for me recently. And then
it's incredible.
And then, and then currently I'm having blood tests for a chronic back injury, which actually came back this morning, which was positive. So I have to deal with that next. But it's one step at a time, getting the ankle better a little bit day by day. The back pain I can deal with. I have methods to help, and I obviously seeing specialists weekly almost to help maintain the pain. But yeah, that's kind of the short roundabout story of my injuries.
It's incredible. Wow. Is the back pain a symptom of the issues that you've had with your Achilles? Is that caused?
Yes,
effectively made
from it. Basically, I've got knee issues, I've got back issues, glute issues, just because, well, for 14, 15 years, well, to be honest, until the last year or so, I've always walked with a limp. I've always walked incorrectly. That I've only just started to be able to walk correctly, run correctly. That obviously these muscles have never actually worked correctly. So everything's trying to play catch up on learning. Like I said, I basically learned to walk at 25, 26. So all of the muscles that normal people use daily, my body's not had to deal with. So they've it's overdrive with the extra weight that I'm trying to shift. It's all kind of made the whole body go out of sync, really.
Yeah, mate, that's incredible. And I think I speak for everybody. And Josh, you not knowing this, and I knew part of this story. You are bang on. Your football brain is insane. And when I asked you to come on, obviously I knew the backstory and I knew it would be interesting for other people to listen to. But I genuinely can't remember the last time I saw you give the ball away. Your ability to retain the ball and find a pass is just on another level. And that's genuinely not blowing smoke up your ass because you're here or because you're a super purple. It's the fact that you basically have had to learn to walk from the age of 25 and you can play football to the level you do as well as you do, it's just insane. It's so impressive, and there's so much more to that story that I didn't know, which is just incredible, mate. So absolute credit to you. And one other thing just before, I'm sure Josh has got questions. Before, you played your first round of golf with us a month or so ago, and you genuinely carried the heaviest bag I've ever felt. The majority of the way around the course, you pretty much did. I think you probably knocked it on the head on the 14th or 15th hole, so you did the majority of the course. And when I picked the bag up to move it for you, I could not believe. I think you had about 20 clubs too many in the bag, and it was so heavy. And I was like, no wonder you're knocking on the head. And to then realise now you have a back issue as well because of your history with it. That's, mate, your resilience and your strength is just so good. So fair play, mate.
I was about to say, how did you? Firstly, I did never realise that you played in pain. I never realised that you had daily pain. That's something to me that I just find unfathomable, because it's. I mean, I personally, obviously, I wouldn't want to be in that situation, understandably, but I just never realised, Tommy, mate, and as Jack just said so eloquently, the perseverance and the resilience. I obviously never really realised the level of that you have until now. So huge. Don't really know what to say. Like, just,
yeah, you stunned us both, mate. To be honest. So, what questions I've got in terms of your development and how things are going? You mentioned about a back issue that now is something else to consider, and something that you've had your blood test back for, and it's not the result you wanted to know. What do the next steps look like for you? Is that something that's gonna, I guess, hamper? You probably have a shelf life, as we all do, when it comes to playing football. Do you think yours is going to be sooner than you expect, or do you think you've got more in you? How do you feel about that sort of thing, without wanting to be too morbid about it?
Like I said, I've lived in pain. I'm not letting an injury stop me at this point. If I live through it, if I keep getting daily pain, that's what I have to do. Like I say, the end goal is to go a day without pain, but that's a bit of the high reach goal. Something like this back thing, I'm going to see a specialist. They've referred me to, NHS department names I'm not even going to attempt with my dyslexia, but they've referred me to the back specialists in the NHS. So I'll go speak to them, see what the next steps are for that. But it's not going to stop me in any shape or form. I'll see the right people. I'll keep putting the work in the gym, at home, at football, and just see where I can get with it, really.
Amazing. And that attitude is just, it would have been so easy, and I'm sure you've had this in your head, it would have been so easy to knock it on the head or not even try. And the fact that you do it and you play the football to the ability you do, the effort you put in, you're effectively our half a game goalkeeper as well. Your ability to do what you do in goal as well is just astonishing, mate. And I don't think there's enough words to be said about how impressive it is. And it's I know you and I spoke a little while ago about you coming on and you wanted to get closer to the achievements you wanted to be able to brag about, with the milestones and everything in Man v Fat, and you've done so well with that as well, mate. You're an inspiration and somebody that anybody who gets Tomo next year should count themselves very, very lucky. You're a great team member and a superstar in my eyes, mate. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, the last month really, sorry, just to jump in there, Josh.
No.
Basically, I've obviously, like I said, I've been doing all that, but I've the last 2 months with the end of the season coming, I've really tried to step it up to my last 2 months with my traveling. I think I can compete with most people in the league. Like, I have 4 or 5 PT sessions a week. Obviously, I have physio, chiro, sports masseuse, football twice a week and on Friday. And then I try to do obviously the 11s every month and stuff. Like, I think my daily minutes of activity and driving and stuff is just ridiculous at the moment. Just trying to get it all in for this season.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, and that's the level of commitment to you. And the important thing is you. I think if anybody does, your body well enough to know if you do too much or if something happens, to not to take it easy. But whilst you're in the smaller amount of pain that you've been in, and whilst you're still enjoying it, then that's huge. One thing you mentioned, and I think I've mentioned on here before, but for a very different reason, I'm at the point now that I still think I'm a 16-year-old trying to play football, and there's certainly things that your head's writing checks your body can't cash. So in your head, I can do this turn, I can skip through that gap, I can take that extra touch, and you certainly learn. Man v Fat is a brutal way of realizing that you are not the player that you used to be, or not as young as you used to be. And as we always say to new people joining, take it easy the first couple of weeks, because you can pull a calf, or you can do a hamstring overdoing it, and it certainly takes a little while for the body to get that muscle memory back of the pain you put it through each time you play.
Yeah. Can I ask you something a bit more personal, Tomo, if you're willing? How did you find it mentally when you were, say, not at your worst, but I think you mentioned COVID. Was that where you would consider yourself at your lowest in terms of?
I would say so.
And how did you move from that to get to where you are now?
So a big thing that also happened in COVID. So the second operation, I was told I would have arthritis as part of the operation. It's just a byproduct. But in your head, you're like, arthritis, I won't get that for 50 years. Old me can deal with that. Turns out old me was only a couple of years away. COVID hit and my arthritis started to flare up like mad because I couldn't use the ankle. And then with the arthritis, I don't know if anyone's ever had to deal with arthritis before, but the pain of just using it on something like an ankle where you can't not use it was insane. Like, I literally tried to wheel around in my chair at times because it just was so bad.
Right.
And then, COVID, I just kind of really struggled to get out there. Obviously, you're only allowed out for an hour a day. I had a dog in a flat with no garden. So I kind of obviously maybe just did a couple of times, 10 minutes, just so they could go to the toilet, come back in and stuff. But after COVID, I moved back in. I think at that point I moved back in with my parents. I almost did almost like a reset. I moved back in. They had a garden. I could kind of get back outside a bit more, start to walk a little bit. I had to build up slowly because if anyone's ever been to a doctor's while being overweight, the only thing they tell you to do to fix anything is to lose weight. And to tell someone like me who literally can't walk to do that, I had to be a bit stubborn with them. I was like, well, I'll try it and then we'll try my way. So I went in, and then I think the first year after COVID, I think I had about 8 hairline fractures the year after because I kept trying to update up my steps and it just kept failing. It kept wanting to say, no, you can't do this. And then basically I had to keep breaking through that level, get the next injury, push through that injury, rehab, keep pushing through each layer. A bit like the muscle fibers, really. I had to push through it, injure it, make it a little bit stronger, go again, basically, until I got to the point of really joining Man v Fat.
Yeah, wow.
How did you get involved then, originally? How did you see it? Was it just online? Or?
So Kevin told me about it, and Kevin joined
of course,
me.
yeah, I'm sorry. You did mention. I apologize. Fair enough. Yeah. Is it just something, because how did Kevin get involved? That's literally
Go further back.
No, I mean, honestly, mate, I couldn't really put myself in your position. Honestly, it's honorable what you do, and I don't really have much to say other than I'm a bit flawed by it, and so how did you build the mental strength you have now to keep it going? Then is it, especially in terms of your weight loss and that, have you found that's activity, or is there something else additional to that that's?
Well, growing up, I've always loved trying to play football, but because I've had this from birth, I've always been a bit of a have to sit on the sidelines, maybe kick a ball here and there. I've never got to play properly. But my end goal has always been to play 11-a-side. That's always been the dream, to be able to play that to an ability where I'm not hindering the team. And I'm hopeful in the next couple of years I can get to a point where we play one of our 11s games. I made a difference here. I really made an impact that I'm happy with. And that's always been one of the biggest driving points. I've always realised that they always say diet's the most important. However, without the motivation of wanting to be better on the football pitch, the diet just doesn't happen for me. I need that. I need that target to push me to do everything else. And with that target in mind, I can go for 50 hours a week to do everything else because I have that end goal.
Yeah. So is the weight loss almost a symptom of the fact that you're striving to do better, to do more physically? And
absolutely, one of my more recent battles is being down on weight, because I'm going to the gym a lot, that I'm actually obviously putting muscle on, and it's like a very fine line of just dropping constantly. Obviously you're often in the weight room, you'll notice how I'm quite accurate on about half a kilo every time. I know roughly what I am, because I've had to do very specific things to ensure I'm down basically every week because of everything else I'm doing.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Insane. I just don't think I can physically handle that, especially as someone who I consider at least relatively healthy and, as you mentioned, pain-free. So for you to be able to do it all that, I just I don't really know as much I can say other than keep saying I just don't. I'm kind of slightly flawed by it all, really.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think what you've achieved and how you've achieved it, it's so impressive. What I was going to say, obviously, having known your other brother and played football with him previously, and obviously Ed being a more than capable footballer, I guess there's what I love is that you could have easily just gone, oh, they clearly can do it and I can't because of my limitations. What you've done is you go, I'll make myself do it. I'll find the way and I'll make myself play and enjoy it as much as they do. And I think that, again, how difficult was that growing up, do you think? Well, I don't want to don't tell us if we're over stepping line in terms of any questions or anything that might bring back any awful memories, but it's fascinating for me to see and learn about that if you're willing to share.
No, absolutely. I've always been very open with this injury, because I think if I can help anyone, I would like to be able to. I've always said that in my journey, that if I get to a point where I can help people, I want to basically say as much as I can to help them. So with this type of thing, I obviously was the youngest of three brothers, and that came with the very, like I say, very competitive, that I often got put in goal as a kid because I didn't have much choice. That's where my goalkeeping standard came from. However,
I love that.
I didn't get to all of the goals did, so then the goalkeeper career ended very soon. And then basically I wanted to be able to compete against them. I always wanted to be able to be in midfield, either against or with my brother Ed more recently, and be able to be able to look at them and say, oh, there's two brothers who are both good at football. That's kind of always been a big thing in it, that I want to be able to, like you say, go stride for stride with them. And not the first thing that someone says about me is my injury. I don't want to be defined by my injury, and it's really nice that I was able to join Man v Fat with almost a clean slate that no one really knew, other than obviously a couple of people behind closed doors.
Yeah, because then nobody's got a preconception of it at all. You're able to write your own story of it, if that makes sense. So you don't have to be defined by it.
Yes.
Yeah, mate. So honourable.
Yeah. I don't know if you consider this offensive or the compliment I mean it to be, but I never would have known, if that makes any sense, that you've struggled so much.
That's a huge compliment, to be honest, at this point.
I honestly, genuinely never would have, unless you told me, I never would have known anything, as you can tell by the fact that I've come to this completely blind.
That was one thing I mentioned
as a compliment, because I really mean it. Like, I really do.
Absolutely. One thing I did mention to Tomo is that I wasn't gonna tell you, because I wanted it to be, you get a genuine reaction to it, and like you, until Tomo let me in on it, I had absolutely no idea that was the case, and he's just done so much good in terms of it that you wouldn't have a clue. Honestly, you would not have a clue, which is amazing, mate. So what's your goals like, mate? Where's your next goal? What's your long-term goal? Obviously, you mentioned about the 11 side. I know you're going to do some traveling soon as well, which is amazing. What's on the horizon for Tomo?
Yeah, so the sad fact is that this is my last season in this stint of Man v Fat. I will be then leaving for Canada for 2 months, going over there while working to see family and just to kind of just do a bit of sightseeing in Canada, really enjoy the summer out there. When I return, it's going to be, again, I think all hands on deck to get everything back. Obviously, I won't have my physio out there. I won't have to see all my specialists. I'll kind of restart all of that back up. And then I really just want to shift this last bit of weight where I'd be happy with. My goal's been for a few years to be able to enjoy summer without a jumper on, like taking away the football side of things. I often don't like taking a jumper off. I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. So it'd be nice to be able to go into a summer and be able to wear just a t-shirt out and about and not feel out of place or anything. Not that I would be, but personally, that's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that. I could tell you for a fact.
Absolutely, mate.
We live near a beach, mate, and I can count on one hand how many times I've been to a beach and been comfortable not wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I mean that on holiday, anytime. And and that's one of my own hang-ups, you know, one of my own things. But I think a lot of people can relate to that. Not to take it away too much from your.
No,
you're definitely not alone, mate. But you're bang on with it as well. It's about getting yourself to a place that you're comfortable, isn't it, and happy, which is amazing. I obviously knew you were going away. I didn't realise it was so soon. So it is it's a shame you won't be back, but fair play, mate. Go and enjoy Canada, and I think we were talking on the golf course about you starting your new job and the fact that the new job understood that you'd be going to do a bit of travelling and working at the same time, which is, people whinge about people that are able to work from home, but this is a perfect example of how it works, and take full advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I'm really sad to be leaving Man Fat, but I know I'll be back when I come back to go again. But yeah, it's just an opportunity that I just can't miss. I think this is going to be kind of it now, like a couple of months here, come back for a few months, kind of reset, go again, and then hopefully just keep going back and forth every few months to just travel the world and keep working.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
so you said this will be the end of this stint. I presume that means that you have intention of rejoining at some point down the line.
Yes, I am. I think I asked Steve last week if I could keep my percentage like number, but unfortunately it gets reset. So I'll have to hit my 5% and 10% again. But yes, I'll be rejoining when I come back, because it's a great community, and it's a great way to kind of keep your mindset on the target.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Will you try and find some football or something out there, do you think, just to keep yourself active? As well, I'm sure you'd be doing lots of wandering around and sightseeing, but the ability to still kick a ball around will help, I'm sure.
Yeah, so the football I've not sourced yet, but I've already got my gym, I've already got my membership for out there, so I've already sorted that side of things. Yeah, I'll have to find a football pitch or kind of some form of something.
I was about to say ice hockey, and then I realised that relies quite heavily on your Achilles. First.
Yeah, no, not a chance.
Probably ill-advised.
As much as my brothers would like to see it. Yeah, no, my brothers. Ed has been dying to get me to record me doing it, and I've been pushing back so far.
Don't blame me, mate. Even if you don't hurt your legs, you end up hurting yourself. Hurt yourself when you fall on your back, so it might not be the best idea. He's a bastard, isn't he? Brothers are bastards. So amazing, mate. That's really cool, and it's been better and more meaningful than I ever thought it could have been. Hearing that story, so that's super good, and hopefully you'll stick around and you'll give us a little. Actually, we'll dive into that now. You've got a big playoff game tomorrow. First question: are you going? Obviously not. You got football, so that's a no. What are your expectations?
No, I mean, I'm too loyal to the Purples. I can't miss our title contending games. You know, can't let this slip past Saints.
Love that.
I'm very pessimistic about everything. So I would like to think we could do it. I mean, there's horrible stats that we've not lost to any teams in the playoffs, so that's a brilliant stat to bring up when we lose.
But
I think we should be able to do it against West Brom. I'm obviously so far away. I'm actually coming down here. I think I'll be going to the gym, and then I might stop at Kevin's. I'm stopping at Kevin's house basically to watch the game before weighing in everything, that I don't miss too much of the game basically with the drive.
Enough.
I'm sure Kevin will be super supportive as well, as he always is. Not. Sick. So, in terms of Saints' season, is it where you think they deserve to be, or do you think they've missed out on an opportunity to get that automatic?
As a neutral, I'm very glad Ipswich went up. I mean, not at the expense of Southampton. I think they've done incredibly this season. I don't think we deserve to go up at this moment in time. I think this games against Leicester, against Ipswich, where we lost, I think we lost to them both twice, really shows that we're not quite at the Premiership level. And if we do go up, I think we're going to get found out very quickly. We obviously lost our starting keeper and another starter, Stuart Armstrong, about 2-3 weeks ago in this run up, which really didn't help us, and we lost, I think, 3 on the trot roughly at that point. So we had a rough run in because of that. But I just think the style of football we play, unfortunately, we haven't got good enough players at the moment. If we go up, that might change, but I don't know if us going up is a mistake, because I feel like we'd come straight back down at this moment in time.
Yeah. It's a difficult league to spend 2 seasons in. I think we had this conversation with Gareth previously, didn't we, Josh? I think if you get relegated to the Premier League, that first season back, or first attempt to getting back, is so important, isn't it? Because you then start to lose players that are at the end of a contract or going to potentially have to leave because of wages. So you got a chance of losing like players like Stuart Armstrong and key members to the squad. But I selfishly, I would quite like to see Pompey Saints next season, which has got a serious. We're only 90 minutes away from guaranteeing that carnage, which is always good fun. So let's wait and see. But yeah, that's probably enough for Saints talk on a Man v Fat Bournemouth podcast. What do you reckon, Josh?
I think we've exhausted that topic.
On to other football topics. So one thing I mentioned before we caught up is to have a chat about the bizarre Man City Spurs game the other night, or Spurs Man City, I should say, with them being the home team. What were your thoughts on that, Josh?
Well, I know you're setting me up because I had a few things to say before the start of this.
Me?
My problem with it is not the game. I didn't watch the game, to be fair, most of the game. My issue with it is that I heard a lot before, during, and after about fans' attitude towards that game. For me, I just don't understand the section of Spurs supporters, regardless of how big it supposedly is, that would rather keep an eye on their rivals than it would be on their own team success, especially when they're chasing Champions League still. I mean, they are technically were chasing Champions League. I mean, I know it would have been difficult, but I don't understand why you wouldn't put your own team success first over the success of your rival. I know you don't want Arsenal to win the title, I get that, but for me, surely that's something you put. I would just, if I'm there watching the game, I want my team to win. Whether I'm at home, I want them to win. I almost put aside I don't give a crap who you're playing. Like it doesn't matter. I understand to some degree why you wouldn't want Arsenal to win. I do. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see how that trumps your own team's success. I would just, why would you not want your team to win? I get
that.
I honestly, I hate it. And Ange's reaction in my mind was completely justified. Like, he was clearly furious at the attitude, not only of the media leading up to it, kept asking questions about it, but afterwards you could tell being in that stadium was infuriating. Not just because they lost the game, of course, but I was a bit stronger about it on the day of. I must admit, I've not used quite so much fruity language as I had.
No, it's very good of you.
But I don't get it.
From my perspective, obviously, they could have done us a favour, and I didn't absolutely expect a thing from them. But I have to agree with you. What I find difficult is that I've never been in that situation, and it's very difficult to categorically, for me, say with how little I like Spurs, categorically to write off going, I wouldn't do that. I can't do. But what was mental about it, and what I found mental about it all, is that the way that the upset was and how upset people got about it all, and how determined they were. You see fans doing the Poznan in the crowd. Granted, it was a couple of idiots, but it didn't take long for the camera to spot them. It was just a strange feeling to the game. I played football before. I football on Tuesday night, so I caught a bit of it in the car on the way, and I happened to tune in just as Haaland scored the first goal, and commentator was like 1-0 to City in the strangest game of the season, which it certainly felt like it leading up to it. TalkSport all that day was hyping it up, trying to make it, as the media do very well, trying to make it a thing. And I can see why Ange was pissed off. And I saw something recently where he, I think it was today actually, where it was a carbon copy of a conversation that Conte had with the media about Spurs, and it was a carbon copy of a conversation that Jose Mourinho had about Spurs. So without sticking the knife in, because everybody's done it, I feel like there is a small club mentality behind that club.
Oh yeah, but that's what Ange said, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he came out and said, "This has shown me more in the last 48 hours."
The foundations are pretty soft in terms of what he thought was the club. So yeah, it is. It was. I didn't expect anything. I wasn't upset that they didn't, because I never expected them to do it. You have to be perfect to beat City to the title, and I'd say we've been as near as perfect as we possibly could have been. We've seen Liverpool go and do it exactly the same. Probably actually we'll end up with more points than we have this season and still not win it. It's heart-wrenching, it's brutal, but it's a fact that they are as good as they are, and it's just something you have to swallow, have to deal with, and move on. But I can see, without it being too much of an Arsenal chat, I can see a bright future for Arsenal with the age of the team, the age of Arteta, the way things are moving. Everything is positive, and I know success is measured by a trophy or not, and we won't get a trophy for coming second, and that's fine. I wouldn't say it's a resounding success, but it's progression, and progression is definitely better than seeing the swamp dwellers swamp dwellers going backwards, which is certainly what they're doing. So
yeah, I mean, in terms of the City winning the title, I mean, yeah, I'm just kind of glad they don't win a Champions League. Or it's just, if they're going to win it, they're going to win it fine, but at least they're not going to win other things. They could win an FA Cup, of course.
Yeah, I'd say there probably is a strong chance. I know that.
Yeah.
But
I'm not.
There's certainly been a bit of
any optimism.
Just saying that, there's certainly been a bit of a tidal change. I think United actually played pretty well against Arsenal at the weekend. I think I was expecting, we got on the plane just as Trossard scored and landed just as it finished, and I was expecting it to be 2, 3, 4 maybe at that point. But credit where credit's due. I think they did everything that they needed to do.
Yeah.
It's not over until it's over, mate. That's how I say
it.
I
yeah, absolutely. But I think it's. I mean, I'm glad it's still going to a last day. Anything can happen. I don't think it's likely that either Arsenal or City will lose, or drop anything points. But yeah, a last day on that one it'll still be interesting to see. And there's still like people like Chelsea, United, Newcastle playing for some European thing, and that's the whole thing about going back to Spurs quickly, not land on it too much, is that they were playing for something, and I just find it ridiculous, to be honest, that attitude of. It's more my main problem with it, and I'm sorry to keep going on about it. My main problem with it isn't necessarily, it's more the attitude it shows in the people who do that. It's a very pessimistic, it comes from anger, it comes from rivalry, it comes from the negative side of the emotion. I don't understand why you wouldn't just, I don't know, I know it's hard to say that, you can't just put aside emotion, but I don't understand why you wouldn't focus on the positive side and just be like, I'm a fan of my team, I want them to win, rather than focusing on the negative of what happens if another team we don't like wins.
Yeah.
You know, it's just two sides of a coin, if that makes sense. I
know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Glass half empty, card full, you know, kind of thing, slightly. But
I think there's more hatred for Arsenal than there is love for their own team, and that's
that's what I find really disappointing. I find that really and it tells you everything about the club and the fan base on some level. I'm not saying all fans are like that. I'm not, big disclaimer there, I'm not putting all fans in one bucket. It could have just been a decent percentage of match going fans only, but anyway, enough of
that. Yeah, absolutely. On to the next topic, which I want to chat about, is the Wolves VAR situation today. So
yes.
From the small bit of news that I've heard is that that Wolves are trying to rally together and get some other teams to put to a vote to scrap VAR entirely, which seems mental, and I can't see it happening. What are your thoughts?
Well, what about you, Tomo? Mainly, we'll start with you while I gather mine.
Somebody outside of VAR would be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say, obviously Saints have been outside of VAR for a season. It's something that you don't, while VAR's been there, something you don't think about is being able to enjoy a goal go in. It's such a simple thing, but I could actually watch a goal, Saints score a goal, and actually enjoy celebrating because we didn't have to wait 5 minutes to find out it's been overturned or a centimetre offside type thing. It's been a really simple thing, but something that I've realised VAR's taken a lot of emotion out of the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it's almost like, well, you got, again, it's like the whole technology taking over, isn't it? And as you more technology, you lose a human element of it. I mean, the funny thing is, people complaining about the human element of using the technology. That's ultimately the issue. But it's just, but you're taking it away the emotion. After me having talked about the emotion of Spurs, but it's funny because I was just looking at the list of negative consequences that they've highlighted.
Yeah.
So first and foremost was the impact on goal celebrations and spontaneous passion, which is what you noted. And I think I think everyone can agree on that. You've got frustration and confusion inside stadiums because you just don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
for lengthy VAR checks. You've got a more hostile atmosphere because with protests, booing of the Premier League anthem and chants against VAR and all that kind of stuff, which is never really a good look. Then you've got the fact that VAR's purpose is kind of overreached. They're now overanalyzing subjective decisions and therefore compromising the fluidity of the Premier League's games, which were, at least until maybe VAR, have been world renowned for how their competitiveness and how intense they are and fast. And then you've got taking away that accountability from on-field refs because they're got that safety net, so they don't make that decision. Essentially, they make a decision, but they know ultimately it doesn't matter. Whereas I think if you took VAR away, that it would go back to, I think if you took VAR away, the refereeing would get better, because I think there'll be less pressure. Well, there'll be, but they less pressure on it, and I think they would just feel like, well, I'm the referee, I've got to make the decision. It's not like, oh, I've got this backup. Obviously, there's a load of errors, and while there's an exception of human error, it's kind of, if you're still making errors when you're trying to use technology to avoid errors, it becomes a bit of a farce then, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the whole just constant discourse, as we are now adding to, about VAR decisions overshadowing the matches and the game, and it overall it just erodes trust. So those are all the kind of list of negative consequences. I think we can all agree on that, can't we, really?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed with VAR is that I think one of the biggest issues away from that is that it's just inconsistent with the human side of things. Like, if it was annoying, but it was always the same result for a foul or an offside, it would be different. But it's the fact that 1 week that could be a red card, 1 week that's onside. It's not predictable, and it should be when it's this type of technology.
Yeah.
I just, part of me feels like they shouldn't have VAR for subjectivity, because all you do is enhance subjectivity. You don't correct it. There's no correcting it. It's just, does that make sense?
I know what
you
mean,
can't. You can't necessarily correct it because it's still humans making a decision. It's just that even with aid of technology, they're still making subjective decisions. So all you do is just enhance the kind of, I don't know, discourses, as we say, around it, whether it's a good or a bad decision. So I don't know. Just part of me, I've come to this thing now that I would be pretty happy if they scrapped it. To be honest,
really,
that's where I land on it. To be honest, now I think I can completely understand why it's useful. When they do the semi-automated offsides for next season, that'll be good. We've seen that work really well. But outside of anything subjective, I just feel like just rely on the ref. Just forget VAR. So
it's a shame
I
it's
don't know.
got
What
to
do you
this
guys
point,
think?
because the Champions League and other leagues have proven that they can make it work, and it can work. So you just wonder why we find it so difficult.
I bet you it would be amazing at the Euros.
As it was. Do you remember the first World Cup that it was on? That was insane, and everyone was like, "Do you know what? Fair play. This is there's an opportunity of this to be really positive and really good." I think you just know what's going to happen. That first incident that happens where somebody is kicked off the ball or headbutted off the ball or something stupid happens and they go, "I didn't see it, neither did any of the officials," is what it is. I think what it might need is toning back in a way. So maybe certain things it doesn't get involved with and other things it does. But then you're in a problem.
Yeah,
the same problem you're
almost,
in now. You go, we can't do it for this, but we can do it for this.
Well, yeah. I mean, in theory, maybe they could say you can't use it for anything that's on the ball, like if it's off the ball, for example. So, but then is it subjective what's on and off the ball? I wouldn't have thought so. Like for example, like if you have someone headbutting someone off the ball, like you can maybe get someone to review that. But again, maybe that's subjective as well. So
yeah.
How
would you feel about kind of like the NFL style flag system? So
I mean, I'm a big fan of the NFL, so you can't really get me on that without saying that's a good idea. But coach is challenging as such. Yeah,
exactly. And we all see bloody Jason Tyndall sit there with his massive iPad watching exactly what's happened after everything happens for Newcastle. I saw it last night, like eyeballing everything. And at the moment, that does you no favours, because if you go to the referee and go, "I've seen it on VAR, I can see it," it's not going to take him long to book you for protesting like that. I just think it's such a tricky thing to get right, or clearly is, but others are doing it right. So why can't we learn from them?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that whole challenge system is all right, but that might be an idea. Maybe.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I mean, it's
clutching at straws in some way, I think.
Yeah, smarter people than me are going to make me that decision. So
You hope. I just hope.
Mate. Yeah, I just hope that whatever it is, it feels like we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's all I care about, really, and just go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got anything to add on that, Tomo, mate, or anything even back towards the rivalry, which I can't let go of?
No, I think like you say, it needs to be rethought. I think while there's the human aspect of it, it's not going to work. I think, like you say, with the introduction of the stuff next year, the automation stuff's going to be good. It's just when you're looking at, like you say, human error is going to happen. It's just not going to work as it is currently, basically.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot needs to change for it to get right. And if we can't do it right now, we're not in a great place, I don't think. But that is to be seen. All right. Anything else on the on the table, Josh? What else do you want to talk about?
I mean, I had nothing else, mainly because I had assumed I was going to rant a lot longer about my the Spurs attitude thing, but nothing specific other than I did want to ask you guys, forgetting that this is the last weekend of the Premier League season coming, or the Championship is in playoffs, etc.
Yeah.
How do you think they've been good season overall in terms of, not for your team, just have you enjoyed it? You know?
I would say I have. Yeah, I think looking back on some games I've been to, I was able to get to that crazy Bournemouth Luton game, which was thanks to Jimmy, I must admit, and that was something that I'll never forget. And then I've been to some absolute tosh as well. I was able to get to Arsenal a couple of times, frustratingly not as much as I would like to, just because of the awful ticketing system. I think in general I've enjoyed this season. I worry, and as I've said before, that it's City's 4th Premier League in a row. But we're finding ourselves in a situation that it feels like this is an inevitability. And I hope it's not, but it certainly feels like we're edging towards that at the moment. But in general, I've enjoyed it. What about yourself, mate? Oh, obviously we had our little away day to Brighton, which was enjoyable to see the football. I may add.
Yeah. I was about to say, actually, this for me, I think it's kind of thanks to the community in some sense, I should say. So thanks to yourself and that, like going to an actual Premier League away day properly for a first time in a while, and then getting to actually some home Premier League games, which is something that I haven't been involved in really at all, at least once or twice before, but really very, very rare. I should say Bournemouth, by the way, not Man United. But that's thanks to people in the community who've been very generous in giving up either their season ticket or tickets they've managed to get. Okay, fair enough, due to their unavailability, but thinking of me and passing it on. So I've really enjoyed it, and actually more than ever, I've enjoyed it because of the community, because I've been able to chat football much more often.
Yeah.
So I actually find this one of my favourite Premier League seasons, despite say Man United's poor season, or even Bournemouth's brilliant season. So I really enjoyed it. How about you, Tomo, in the Championship and that? I guess it's a little bit more difficult considering where the Saints were a couple of years ago, but
so I mean, it is one of the first seasons in about 10 or so years that I've not watched the Premier League too much. But it has been nice to be in a league where it feels like the teams closer to the fans, like the teams that the other people in the community that have teams in the Championship. It feels like it's a really nice community to talk about the games and everything. And yeah, I've enjoyed it still, even if we don't make it up. I think it's been a really good season to kind of go back to the roots, almost like I say about VAR. It's been an enjoyable season where I could enjoy the football that was being played. Not even just Saints. Obviously, I watched some of our competitors and stuff.
Yeah. Enough. Amazing. Oh, there you go. Good season. Yeah. And soon we'll be into Euro fever and England's guarantee of winning a trophy, a major trophy. So, which I'm sure we'll come to, in particular when Ben is back, because I'm sure we'll have to do a season review and a Euro special, or several Euro special.
I feel that coming pretty soon. We'll obviously it'll be the one before the awards ceremony as well. So we'll have a few bits housekeeping to do and catch up on a few bits with the community before they attend in a week and a bit's time, but also a good opportunity to have a look at the Premier League season in review, have a look at the Championship season for Ben, and also have a get together what we think is going to happen with England, and especially with players like Luke Shaw not looking like he's going to make it, who's going to play left back. Loads of questions.
Yeah, actually, I don't know about that. Is he not? I mean, I haven't heard anything. He might not make it, but I guess he isn't.
I think I saw something today on Fabrizio Romano saying Ten Hag said that he's out for a fair bit now and not likely to make the.
That would be an absolute disaster. I'm sorry.
I think it's a disaster for England and United, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, it's funny actually you should say about the Euros because that's a month away. Unbelievable.
There we go. Just quickly, Fabrizio Romano, Luke Shaw's season could be over, as Eric Ten Hag says. He only has a very small chance of making the FA Cup final, as he's had a setback. Harry Maguire has good chances. Varane, Lindelof are back on the pitch. I can't
believe I'm happy to say Harry Maguire is going to be fit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yes.
What have we come to? Anyway.
What a world, eh?
Right. Yeah, with the Euros is literally, by the way, as I say, exactly a month away. Almost exactly a month away. It's the 16th.
How exciting. So, we're going to have to start planning somewhere to watch it all together as well. We have to find someone that's going to take us, all us rowdy lot in.
Yeah. A quick reminder, by the way, awards night, 25th, Bournemouth Electric Club. I still believe there's tickets available, Jack. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Tickets available. Lots of raffle tickets still available. Get your raffle tickets.
So we're really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great night. So
absolutely. And Tomo, thank you so much for joining us, mate. It's been unreal. Really, really good story for everybody to learn and know about you, but also you're getting your kudos from us. But I'm sure others will say the same, that nobody would have had a clue, mate. So incredible work, mate, and keep up the good work.
Yeah,
thanks guys. Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm really in awe of you, mate. To be honest, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I just the resilience and the what you've shown and your story in general is just unbelievable, really. So thank you for coming on and talking to us. And
fair play, mate.
I'll be talking to you again in the next half an hour anyway. But amazing, mate. And I can't wait for the community to give a listen, mate.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Well, have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. And boys, I will see you in about 25 minutes.
Indeed.
Cheery bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.